The next story is of a North African brother, and he shares his thoughts on an online phenomenon that is wreaking havoc in the hearts and minds of many. Although this topic is very emotional for some, the brother does an amazing job at staying respectful while conveying his message. Take a listen with an open mind and heart.
Let me say this loud and clear, because I'm sick and tired of the noise, the lies, and the arrogance of a loud minority poisoning the minds of our youth. My name is Riyad Al-Hilali. I'm an Arab from Algeria, from the Ouled Nile tribe, one of the many tribes that branch off of Banu Halad, the legendary Arab tribe that settled across North Africa centuries ago. And for anyone who wants to cry Arab by name only, here's a scientific punch right to your delusional narrative. My Y-DNA haplogroup is J1, specifically J-ZS4753. This same genetic lineage that defines the Badr Hiran, the same blood that runs through the veins of the tribes of the Arabian Peninsula. That's not mythology, that's science, recorded migration, and living lineage. So when these online Berberist nationalists sit behind their keyboards spewing venom, screaming that North Africans aren't Arabs, I have laughed because I don't need their validation. I have my tribe, my history, and my DNA to prove it. They can scream all they want, but no amount of the hashtags or fake maps will erase who we are. These people, this tiny but loud minority, they spend their days online trying to convince the world that Arab and North African can't coexist, or can exist, in the same sentence. It's like they physically flinch when they hear the word Arab next to Algeria, or Morocco, or Tunisia. They have built an entire digital cult around denying our identity, as if shouting on Reddit or TikTok somehow rewrites centuries of reality. But here's the truth. On the ground, in real life, the people of the Maghreb probably identify as Arabs. Walk through Jelfa, Biskra, Garvaya, and ask the average person who they are. They'll tell you straight up, I'm Arab, I'm Muslim, and I'm proud. It's only online in the comfort of a Western bedroom where these Berberist activists feel brave enough to rewrite history and spit on their own people. And let's be honest, many of them aren't even Muslim anymore. They hide behind indigenous pride, but what they're really pushing is atheism, pagan revivalism, and hatred towards anything related to Islam and the Arabs who brought it here. They glorify pre-Islamic rituals and festivals that our ancestors, they say, left behind when they embraced the deen. They wrap their resentment in cultural colors, but beneath it, there's just anger and disbelief. What breaks my heart most isn't their hate, it's the confusion they're spreading among our youth, especially those living in the West. Young Maghrebi Arabs who once held their identity with pride now hesitate to even say I'm Arab online, afraid of being attacked or mocked. I've seen it happen, comment sections flooded by bitter people correcting every sentence. Actually, you're not Arab. Actually, you're Amazigh. Actually, you're indigenous. They talk like colonial administrators policing identity, deciding who is allowed to call himself Arab. Meanwhile, Westerners and South Asians, who know nothing about our history, jump in to echo the same nonsense, barking down at North Africans for daring to be proud of their Arab heritage. Let me make this crystal clear. Being Arab isn't just about speaking Arabic. It's not a dialect or a cultural trend. It's a lineage, genetics, a genealogy, a direct tie to the Arabian Peninsula. And my tribe, the Ouled Nile from Banu Hanad, are living proof. We are one of the largest Arab tribes in Africa, descended from the Banu Halak who migrated from Mejd. Our lineage is documented, our names recorded, our presence undeniable. There are millions of us, literally, inside Algeria alone. The Ouled Nile number around 13 million people, and another 4 million live outside. We are the sons of Sidiman al-Idrisi al-Hassani, and we are spread across Jelfa, Biskra, Tugurt, Misila, Al-Ghawat, Garvaya, Wargla, Busada, Setif, Algiers, Medea, and Burj, Anava, and beyond. We didn't just drop from the sky, we carried with us the same blood that ran through the veins of our ancestors in the peninsula. So I ask these Berberist extremists, how can you erase over 10 million Arabs in Algeria alone? How do you explain our tribes, our language, okay, our Bedouin accents, our dialects, our traditions, our verified lineage? You can't. That's why they focus on emotion, mockery, and identity politics instead of facts. Because the moment you introduce DNA, genealogy, and migration history, their whole ideology crumbles. Let's be absolutely real here, okay? They don't hate Arabs because of culture. They hate Arabs because deep down they reject Islam as well too. Because I've heard a bunch of comments of people saying, take Islam and go back with your camel back to Arabia. I've heard that multiple times. And they know that the Arabs were the ones who carried it over you. They project their anger toward the deen onto us. So when they say, we're not Arabs, what they often mean is, we want to detach ourselves from Islam and its symbols. They claim to be fighting colonialism, but their entire rhetoric is a colonial product. A Western-funded obsession with ethnicity and division. They don't even see how ironic it is. The Berberist ideology is a sickness, a poison that has infected online spaces, and every day it grows louder because good Arabs stay silent. We scroll past their comments thinking it's not worth replying, but that silence gives them power. They're rewriting our identity through how we sleep. They're teaching our children that to call yourself an Arab is to be a liar, a colonizer, or an oppressor. That's psychological warfare, and it's working because we let them run unchecked. What's even more pathetic is that most of these so-called Berber nationalists or Amazigh nationalists are born and raised in the West. They've never set foot in the mountains or deserts they claim to be from. They sip Starbucks, wear Western clothes, and cry about indigenous identity while living in London, Paris, or Montreal. And from their cozy apartments, they attack Arabs, mock Islam, and tell Algerians, Moroccans, and Tunisians who they're allowed to be. That's not pride. That's self-hatred. Okay, disguised as heritage. And I'll say this, even if it stings, these people are not the voice of Algeria, Morocco, or Tunisia. They're the loud minority, nothing more. They do not represent the millions of humble, faith-holding, Arabic-speaking, family-centered people who live across the Maghreb and proudly identify as Arabs. We are still here. We are the majority, and we refuse to be erased. You see, what started out as a few angry posts online turned into an entire digital movement, a loud, bitter, self-hating movement built on resentment and denial. These Berberist nationalists learned quickly how to weaponize social media. They used TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit to inject their hatred into every discussion about North Africa. Say the word Arab, and they'll flood your comment section like a swarm of bees, shouting that you're brainwashed colonizer, that you're erasing the indigenous. It's madness. They call us colonizers, us the sons of the land who've lived here for centuries. They cry about erasure while they're the ones erasing millions of Arabs from the historical record. They talk about pride, but everything about their message screams insecurity. And the sad part is, it's working. They've managed to confuse so many young North Africans living in the West, kids who grew up speaking Arabic, eating couscous, celebrating Eid, now suddenly feeling like imposters in their own identity. They open TikTok and see video after video saying, Arabs invaded us, we're not Arabs, speak Amazigh, Tamazight, not Arabic. And slowly it gets into their heads. They start questioning who they are. They start apologizing for being Arab. That's how psychological warfare works. That was Boaz, but with doubt. When I scroll through comment sections today, I see Westerners joining in, parroting the same nonsense like trained parrots. People who can't even locate Algeria on the map, lecturing us about our identity. And black Africans and South Asians like Indians, Afghanis, and Pakistanis who know nothing about North African history, attacking Arabs online just to fit in with that loud anti-Arab crowd. It's embarrassing, but it shows how far the poison has spread. What hurts most is that this hatred doesn't even come from the indigenous brothers back home, not from the farmers or the shepherds in the mountains. No, it comes from the westernized diaspora, detached from the soil, disconnected from faith, fed on identity politics and Western academia. They've replaced Islam with ideology. They've replaced community with ego. They've replaced facts with feelings. They'll tell you Arab is just a language, as if centuries of lineage can be reduced to grammar. No, Arab is blood, genetics, tribe, and ancestry that ties back directly to the Arabian Peninsula. And I say this not out of arrogance, but out of truth. Our forefathers didn't wake up one day and decide to pretend to be Arab. They were Arabs. They are Arabs. And their descendants today, millions strong, still carry that blood proudly. You know what's funny though? The same people who mark us for being Arab by name only will turn around and claim to be indigenous by soul. What does that even mean? They demand proof from us but offer none themselves. They cling to myths while rejecting documented genealogies, DNA evidence, and migration records. They'll call our history Arab propaganda, but share fake maps, okay, made by anonymous Twitter accounts. This is the level of delusion we're dealing with. But make no mistake, this isn't just an argument about ethnicity. This is a war on identity. Let me tell you something from my experience, okay? The average Berber Amazigh brother I meet in Algeria doesn't talk like these online fanatics. He speaks his Berber Amazigh Midjish language, okay, alongside Arabic. He prays beside me in the masjid. He fasts on Ramadan. He doesn't care about this nonsense. He sees me as his brother because in the end, we share the same deen and the same homeland. But online, it's a different world. Online, it's a battleground, full of lost souls trying to fill the void of faith with ethnic obsession. Trying to be European, trying to be white, like the majority of Amazigh people try to be. They claim that us Arabs are brown and ugly and look like Indians, but in the end, that's pure racism. You're self-hating. You'll never be white. You'll never be European because you're not. I've had people tell me, you're not Arab, your DNA doesn't matter. So I ask them, what does matter then? Your feeling, your hashtags? Because I can show you genealogy, the lineage, the YDNM workers, the historical migrations. All they can show me is their insecurity. Again, to drive this point home, my DNA, my YDNA is J1. Okay, J-ZS4752. It isn't just the scientific label. It's a direct connection to the Arabian Peninsula, to the same lineage that produced the Banu Hanan who transformed North Africa forever. When they came in, just come as colonizers, they came as settlers, warriors, and families. People who integrated, intermarried, and built the Maghreb we know today. They have brought with them language, poetry, trade, and yes, Islam. The faith that united Arab and indigenous people under one God. That's the truth. No one can rewrite that. Yet now, a century later, a group of westernized kids with MacBooks think they can erase 10 centuries of history with a few TikToks, Reddit posts. Alright? They mock the Hijaz. They insult our Prophet, peace be upon him, and indirectly by insulting Arabs. They push the same colonial narratives France used to divide us during occupation. Back then it was Kabyle versus Arab. Now it's Amazigh versus Arab. Same playbook, different generation. And what's worse? They think they're being revolutionary when in reality they're just useful tools continue to colonizer's mission. You know why I call it a cult? Because they behave exactly like one. They isolate themselves, attack anyone who disagrees, worship their symbols, and reject facts that don't fit their beliefs. And like any cult, they need enemies to survive, so they have chosen Arabs as the eternal villain. Everything bad becomes the Arabs' fault. Colonialism, Arabs. Corruption, Arabs. Even their own lack of unity, Arabs. It's a pathetic mindset, but it spreads fast because it feeds people's egos. And while they waste time fighting imaginary Arab ghosts, the real problems in the Maghreb, poverty, corruption, unemployment, continue unchecked. Our people suffer, our youth migrate, our lands stagnate, and these activists are busy arguing on Twitter about who's more indigenous. It's tragic. We've become so obsessed with labels, but that we've forgotten purpose. We've become so caught up in DNA debates that we've forgotten who we are supposed to serve. Allah, our families, and our nations. But here's the thing. The majority of Maghrebis, the true sons and daughters of the land, see through it. They don't buy into the hate. They know this identity war is fake. Because when you travel from Morocco to Egypt, you hear the same Arabic tongue, eat the same bread, and feel the same warmth in the people. We are one culture, one history, and one extended family. The loud minority can scream all they want, but they can't drown out the truth that lives in our streets, our music, our songs, our food, our faith, and our hearts. That's why we need to speak louder, because silence gives lies power. Every Arab brother from the Maghreb has a duty to push back, respectfully but firmly. Don't let anyone tell you you're not Arab. Don't let anyone erase your lineage, your culture, or your faith. Stand tall, even if they call you names, because the louder they shout, the more desperate they sound. They know deep down that the Arab identity of North Africa is not a theory, it's a reality, and it's not going anywhere.
Alright, brothers and sisters, I've just finished listening to Riyad's story, and subhanAllah, it's like he took the words out of my mouth. As a Libyan, I'm nodding along with every word this Algerian brother laid down. His call to stand firm as Arabs and Muslims. It's exactly what we need to hear. This online war between Arabs and those calling themselves the made-up term Amazigh, spewing made-up narratives. It's the same divisive nonsense I've been exposing on this channel. A while back, I shared my own story here, diving into this ugly online battle where a loud minority pushes this Amazigh label to erase our Arab identity and fracture North Africa. They scream about indigenous this and colonizer that, as if our Arab tribes, our lineage, our history in North Africa is some myth. I'm from Al-Enezi, and when I trace my roots, it's clear as day. My people came from the Arabian Peninsula, carrying Islam and building a legacy across Libya. My Y-DNA, like Riyadh's, points to J1, FGC1 mutation, a marker of our Arab heritage. That's not a story, it's science, history, and truth. When I meet my Arab brothers in Tripoli or Benghazi, or my cousins in the Arabian Peninsula, it is a well-known fact that Libya is the most Arabian country outside of the Arabian Peninsula. And when I meet indigenous North Africans, we pray together, break bread together, and call each other brother. It's only online, in these toxic corners of TikTok and Reddit, that you see this hate, mostly from diaspora kids in the West who've never walked our streets. Like Riyadh said, they're a loud minority, not the voice of our people. They push division, reject Islam, and try to shame us for our Arab identity and lineage. But wallahi, we're the majority, and we won't be erased. Riyadh's call to stand up and speak louder resonates with me. I've seen the same confusion among our youth in the diaspora, hesitating to call themselves Arab because of this online poison. That's why I'm with him 100%. We need to push back, not with hate, but with truth. Our identity as Arabs and Muslims is our strength, and no hashtag or fake map can change that. For those brothers and sisters interested in Hijrah, I put together something I hope will benefit you. 5 practical steps to plan your Hijrah. A Muslim's guide to a faithful new start. It's simple, and it's written for brothers and sisters who are ready to stop talking and start planning. Link is below. Grab your copy. And if you could relate to Riyadh's story, drop a comment. More stories coming soon, inshallah.
واركب لما عتقول هلالي